Book 4, Part 1 of Ovid's Metamorphoses. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Metamorphoses by Publius Ovidius Naso. Translated by Brooks Moore. Book 4, Part 1. Alcithoe, daughter of King Minyas, consents not to the orgies of the god, denies that Bacchus is the son of Jove, and her two sisters join her in that crime. 'Twas festal day, when matrons and their maids, keeping it sacred, had forbade all toil; and having draped their bosoms with wild skins, they loosed their long hair for the sacred wreaths, and took the leafy thyrsus in their hands. For so the priest commanded them. Austere the wrath of Bacchus if his power be scorned. Mothers and youthful brides obeyed the priest, and putting by their wickers and their webs, dropped their unfinished toils to offer up frankincense to the god, invoking him with many names. O Bacchus! O twice born! O fire begot! Thou only child twice mothered! God of all those who plant the luscious grape! O Liber! All these names, and many more, for ages known throughout the lands of Greece. Thy youth is not consumed by wasting time, and lo, thou art an ever youthful boy, most beautiful of all the gods of heaven, smooth as a virgin when thy horns are hid. The distant east to tawny India's clime, where rolls remotest Ganges to the sea, was conquered by thy might. O most revered! Thou didst destroy the doubting Pentheus, and hurl the sailors' bodies in the deep, and smote Lycurgus, wielder of the axe. And thou didst guide thy lynxes, double yoked, with showy harness. Satyrs follow thee, and Bacchanals, and old Silenus, drunk, unsteady on his staff, jolting so rough on his small back-bent ass, and all the way resounds a youthful clamour, and the screams of women, and the noise of tambourines, and the hollow cymbals, and the box-wood flutes, fitted with measured holes. Thou art implored by all Ismenian women to appear peaceful and mild, and they perform thy rites. Only the daughters of King Minyas are carding wool within their fastened doors, or twisting with their thumbs the fleecy yarn, or working at the web. So they corrupt the sacred festival with needless toil, keeping their handmaids busy at the work. And one of them, while drawing out the thread with nimble thumb, anon began to speak. While others loiter and frequent these rites fantastic, we the wards of Pallas, much to be preferred, by speaking novel thoughts may lighten labor. Let us each in turn relate to an attentive audience a novel tale, and so the hours may glide. It pleased her sisters, and they ordered her to tell the story that she loved the most. So, as she counted in her well-stored mind the many tales she knew, first doubted she whether to tell the tale of Derceto, that Babylonian, who, ever the tribes of Palestine, in limpid ponds yet lives, her body changed, and scales upon her limbs; or how her daughter, having taken wings, passed her declining years in whitened towers. Or should she tell of Nais, who with herbs, too potent, into fishes had transformed the bodies of her lovers, till she met herself the same sad fate? Or of that tree, which sometime bore white fruit, but now is changed and darkened by the blood that stained its roots? Pleased with the novelty of this, at once she tells the tale of Pyramus and Thisbe, and swiftly as she told it unto them, the fleecy wool was twisted into threads. When Pyramus and Thisbe, who were known the one most handsome of all youthful men, the other loveliest of all Eastern girls, lived in adjoining houses near the walls that Queen Semiramis had built of brick around her famous city, they grew fond and loved each other, meeting often there, and as the days went by their love increased. They wished to join in marriage, but that joy their fathers had forbidden them to hope, and yet the passion that with equal strength inflamed their minds no parents could forbid. No relatives had guessed their secret love, for all their converse was by nods and signs. And as a smouldering fire may gather heat, the more 'tis smothered, so their love increased. Now, it so happened, a partition built between their houses, many years ago, was made defective with a little chink. A small defect, observed by none, although for ages there. But what is hid from love? Our lovers found the secret opening, and used its passage to convey the sounds of gentle, murmured words, whose tuneful note passed oft in safety through that hidden way. There, many a time, they stood on either side, Thisbe on one and Pyramus the other, and when their warm breath touched from lip to lip, their sighs were such as this: "Thou envious wall, why art thou standing in the way of those who die for love? What harm could happen thee shouldst thou permit us to enjoy our love? But if we ask too much, let us persuade that thou wilt open while we kiss but once. For we are not ungrateful. Unto thee we own our debt. Here thou hast left a way that breathed words may enter loving ears." So vainly whispered they, and when the night began to darken they exchanged farewells, made presents that they kissed a fond farewell, vain kisses that to love might none avail. When dawn removed the glimmering lamps of night, and the bright sun had dried the dewy grass, again they met where they had told their love. And now complaining of their hapless fate, in murmurs gentle, they at last resolved a way to slip upon the quiet night, elude their parents, and, as soon as free, quit the great builded city and their homes. Fearful to wander in the pathless fields, they chose a trysting place, the tomb of Ninus, where safely they might hide unseen, beneath the shadow of a tall mulberry tree, covered with snow white fruit, close by a spring. All is arranged according to their hopes, and now the daylight, seeming slowly moved, sinks in the deep waves, and the tardy night arises from the spot where day declines. Quickly the clever Thisbe, having first deceived her parents, opened the closed door. She flitted in the silent night away, and, having veiled her face, reached the great tomb, and sat beneath the tree. Love made her bold. There, as she waited, a great lioness approached the nearby spring to quench her thirst, her frothing jaws incarnadined with blood of slaughtered oxen. As the moon was bright, Thisbe could see her, and affrighted fled with trembling footstep to a gloomy cave. And as she ran, she slipped and dropped her veil, which fluttered to the ground. She did not dare to save it. Wherefore, when the savage beast had taken a great draught, and slaked her thirst, and thence had turned to seek her forest lair, she found it in her way, and full of rage, tore it and stained it with her bloody jaws. But Thisbe, fortunate, escaped unseen. Now Pyramus had not gone out so soon as Thisbe to the tryst, and when he saw the certain traces of that savage beast imprinted in the yielding dust, his face went white with fear. But when he found the veil covered with blood, he cried: "Alas! One night has caused the ruin of two lovers. Thou wert most deserving of completed days, but as for me, my heart is guilty. I destroyed thee. O my love, I bade thee come out in the dark night to a lonely haunt, and failed to go before. Oh, whatever lurks beneath this rock, thou ravenous lion, tear my guilty flesh, and with most cruel jaws devour my cursed entrails. What? Not so! It is a craven's part to wish for death." So he stopped briefly, and took up the veil, went straightway to the shadow of the tree, and as his tears bedewed the well known veil, he kissed it oft, and sighing said: "Kisses and tears are thine, receive my blood as well." And he imbrued the steel, girt at his side, deep in his bowels, and plucked it from the wound, afaint with death. As he fell back to earth, His spurting